Jorij Abraham. I'm Dutch. I live in Amsterdam, and I run two companies. One is ScamAdviser, which is an online algorithm which real-time checks if a website is legit or a scam. And I run the Global Anti-Scam Alliance, which is a non-profit organization where we try to smash the heads together of policymakers, law enforcement, banks, telecom operators to better protect consumers against scammers.
Jorij, thank you. Thank you very much. What does ScamAdviser do? How consumers can use it?
ScamAdviser was actually set up in 2012 by Mark, a developer from the UK. The story goes that Mark bought a golf set online, proved to be a fake. And as you know, Mike, nobody is as dangerous as an angry developer. So he started to develop an algorithm to see, hey, what's the chance of this website being legit or scam? That turned into ScamAdviser.com, and nowadays we have more than 5 million unique visitors per month. But more importantly is that we also share our data with antivirus companies, payment service providers, search engines, social media, so that they can check if a website is legit before they allow it on their platform.
When a consumer encounters a new website or a new platform that they're not familiar with, to go online and check it out.
Yes, that's what we always tell consumers, that if you don't know the website, go and check it out and before you use your credit card. So maybe to also illustrate how does ScamAdviser work, let's say you enter webshopping.uk into ScamAdviser, and just giving an example, then we scan the website and we see it's an online store. It claims to be based in the United Kingdom, but it's actually hosting in Romania, which is fine. But if it then offers consumer electronics, then we become a little bit suspicious, because consumer electronics from Romania to the United Kingdom, that doesn't happen much. So we lower the trust score a little bit. And then we see on the server of that website that there are actually 200 other websites which are exact copies of the same website, just a different name. That's often a trademark of a scam server. The scammer just repeats his scam over and over and over. So we lower the trust score again. And then we see they have excellent reviews on SiteJabber, Trust Profile. But the website is 3 days old. You cannot have hundreds of positive reviews and be 3 days old. So we lower the trust score. And that's basically how our algorithm works. And we also get more and more data from law enforcement, like the Dutch police, Swiss police, American police, which helps us to continuously improve our algorithm and makes it better.
Wonderful. It's a great resource for consumers to check things out. Online scams happen as long as online business exists. What's your opinion? Are scams more sophisticated, less sophisticated right now? Who is the target for scams today?
First of all, scams have been around since the Egyptians. Scams have become my hobby, and even the Egyptians already scammed each other. So with fake merchandise, actually. But nowadays we see that online scams are becoming more and more difficult to recognize. I mean, it used to be easy, Mike. I mean, too good to be true, then it probably is. So if you suddenly can get a Chanel bag for $25, you know it's either fake or you're not going to get it at all. But scammers have become smarter. So they just keep the price a little bit below the normal sales price, and you still will buy it, and they know that you will buy it because the difference no longer triggers any alerts. And we see that scammers are professionalizing, and it becomes very, very difficult to recognize, for the normal consumer to recognize a scam. So, and now, of course, with AI, it becomes even more and more difficult to recognize scammers. So we will always have work, I'm afraid, Mike.
I agree, Jorij. I agree. Do you see any difference between scam types that exist between different countries, different continents? Maybe a specific type of scam more proliferant in one part of the world, but it's not in the other? What would you say?
Some scams are universal. The most popular scams being checked on ScamAdviser are online shopping scams, which are universal. I mean, the shop either doesn't deliver the product, or it's sending you a brick to tell the credit card companies that the product was delivered. We also see a lot of investment scams and crypto scams and forex trading scams. Those are really universal. Some scams are more towards the national preference. I mean, we see a lot of people from India being scammed in employment scams. So the scammer is saying, hey, I can offer you a job in America. You just have to pay me a few $100s and I will get you to America. That's, of course, a terrible kind of scam. In China, game scams are very popular. So I'm going to sell you my magic sword, which you can use in a game. And then, of course, the money is paid, but you don't get the magical sword. I recently had a gentleman from the Middle East, and there was a scammer who launched a platform where you could arrange a wedding. Arranged weddings or marriages are still common in some countries. And there was a website which said that they will be the middleman. And he was scammed for $5,000, believing that he could arrange a marriage for his daughter. So they're local scams, they're global scams. But I do know, Mike, everybody can get scammed. It's not only that people always think, hey, if I'm scammed, I'm stupid. No, it can happen to everybody. Recently, we had a professor who had his own very successful company with 20 people specializing in artificial intelligence and trading. He is a very, very smart guy, but he got scammed. He believed that there was a company who was willing to invest in his company, and he even flew to them. He shook their hands, but in the process, they were able to convince him that he first had to pay money to get money, which is an advanced fee scam. And well, this guy probably has an IQ of over 150. He got scammed, and it can happen to anybody. While we're weak, we're not paying attention, or we desperately need something, then the scammer hits.
Let's talk about what can you do once you do realize that you've been scammed. My first question in the series would be, okay, I got scammed by someone from Middle East. For example, I live in the United States. Do I go to United States police? Do I go to Dubai's police? What do I do? Who do I go to report such activity? Are there world practices that you can share with us? What should the person do?
The person should go to his own police, and that can be the local police, the FBI if you live in the US. I always emphasize, do report it. We know that only global average 7% of all scams are reported. And the only person who benefits from that is the scammer, because he knows that his chance of getting caught are very slim. I mean, we see that most scammers, especially if they're professional, they never, ever scam in their own country, because then they have a chance of getting caught. As soon as they're scamming from across the border, the chances of getting caught are, according to the World Economic Forum, less than 0.05%. And that's the problem, Mike. I mean, on the one hand, reporting a scam, does it make sense? Does it get you the scammer? Probably not. But if we don't report, we don't support our law enforcement to, in the end, catch the guys. And I think it's always important to report. You might get lucky and you might get your stuff or money back. But if not, you are helping law enforcement to build a case to get the scammer in the end. So always report, but you have to do it at your local law enforcement or national law enforcement, depending on the country where you live.
According to the FTC report, 86% of consumers who report losing money to online shopping fraud are of younger age. Are younger shoppers more susceptible to being scammed than older ones?
Well, I mean, the data of the FTC is very reliable. And we see it actually not only being an American trend, but a global trend. In most countries, it used to be that elderly people get scammed more, and especially with investment scams. But nowadays, we see that younger people are scammed more and also are losing huge amounts of money. And we both have kids, Mike. So I think it's part younger people are online more. So the chances of getting scammed are bigger because they are more online. And of course, they are a little bit more careless. We see that elderly people, they are aware that scammers are very active. Younger people, they're living more in the moment, and they take more risks and they experiment, which is also part of being that age, that you want to experiment and learn. So yes, we see as a global trend that young people are getting scammed more. Especially, it's not only online shopping; it's a lot of crypto. Even that bad that in China, 10% of all the students in 1 year lost money to crypto scammers. And as a result, the Chinese government enforced a training program for students to make sure that they are scammed less. I mean, that's one of the benefits of having a more strict regime, that you can enforce everybody to do a training to not get scammed.
Well, on the other hand, it's maybe because they are reporting. Again, it's going back to your earlier comment that when if consumer gets scammed, yes, it may not be pleasant to deal with it, report it. It's waste of time more often than not, because it will not bring the results back that you want, most likely. However, it will alert the government. It will perhaps support training programs for local people. The government will know about the type of scams that are happening. It will help other people in the neighborhood, so to speak.
Yeah, it does.
Emails, Nigerian emails are historic, right? Everyone has received Nigerian wealth or Nigerian inheritance email in the world. Those were typical, 10 years ago? It started probably 15 years ago. What are the popular scams today? What's happening? What's hot on the market, on the scam market today? Is it email? Is it social media? What kind of combination scams you see?
Yeah, email is still there, and lots of it. And yes, we're better. Our spam filters are getting better at blocking them. But same with text or SMS messages. They're still being used. They're still sent out a lot. And the general statistics: 2% of the people who receive them fall for them. So it works. So they will continue. But we do see a huge shift towards social media. And very honestly, especially Facebook and YouTube are full with scammers. They are advertising very aggressively because they can. I mean, if you don't deliver the product, your product margin is great. So you can advertise a lot on YouTube, on Facebook, or Google search. And that's what we see now, that scammers are no longer just sending bulk email or bulk text. They're really advertising on platforms because they have the money and they know it's going to they're going to make a great dividend.
That's true. My recommendation to fellow consumers is, first of all, run away from the companies that don't offer credit card payments. And if the company offers a selection of payment types, be that PayPal, credit card, Payoneer, cash, always go with the credit card, because credit card does offer you a level of protection. And yes, on one hand, you can always report a payment as a scam payment to the credit card, and you have almost 100% chance of getting that money back, on one hand. On the other hand, you also alert the credit card company to the possible scam, and credit card is able to pull thousands and thousands of transactions that go to a particular merchant account and perhaps stop the scammer or get to the scammer, because credit card does offer that layer of protection that consumer can rely upon. Am I correct, Jorij, in my recommendation?
Yes, I also always recommend use a safe payment method, PayPal, credit card. You have a good chance of getting your money back, but it's not perfect. It's not. You also have your own responsibility, and we see that credit cards and also PayPal are getting more strict in the sense of, if you ordered a Chanel bag, $25, what do you expect? We see a change in behavior with credit cards and PayPal, that it's not as easy to get your money back as it used to be, and in some cases they don't. So there's also, and it's not a free ride for the consumer. The consumer also has to watch his back and really think before he uses his credit card or PayPal account.
True, and completely agree. And always remember, if it is too sweet to be true, don't believe in it. What recommendations can you make to consumers when, for the email? Always be wary of emails from unknown email addresses. Always look at URL, whether URL, the link in the email actually points to the website it perpetrates to be. Those small technology things are easy to spot on the consumer side. I get emails from Facebook saying that my Facebook account has been locked, but it's nothing because it's just a scam. People are trying to get to my login credentials for my Facebook. I always recommend to actually read into the URL line to see whether it brings you back to Facebook or not. And it's just an example that I'm advising to consumers. Also, Facebook will never send you an email from Gmail account or Yahoo account. So Facebook email would come from Facebook email account. Those are important things that consumers shall be watching for when looking at possible scam emails. Do you have any other examples that you can suggest, Jorij? What are the red flags for people to monitor?
I think your advice is very good, Mike. What we recommend is indeed if your bank contacts you, if law enforcement contacts you, if you get an email from Facebook, don't click on the link. If you are contacted by anybody and say, yes, thank you very much, and I will call you now on your regular number. So, or with an email, go directly to Facebook. Don't click on the link. Go directly to Facebook and log in there to resolve the issue. Or if your bank calls saying that you have to transfer your money to a safe account because you have been hacked, in this case, just smash the phone down and call your bank because they're phishing you. But many people are being called with, because the artificial intelligence is getting so good, they're being called with the voice of their son or daughter saying that they are in trouble and they need money. Tell them, I'm going to hang up now and I'm going to call you back on your normal phone to solve the issue. Because it becomes more and more difficult for consumers to recognize scams because the emails, the text messages, the video calls are getting so good that it's very difficult to be sure if it's the scammer or the real person.
Thank you for pinpointing some of the red flags. Another advice I can make, guys, is the following. Whenever you are being hunted or reached out to by email, SMS, you are being offered with a phone number to call. Follow what Jorij said. Call on a regular number. And also run the number through Google. See what Google says about a particular phone number, whether it belongs to a real organization. And also make sure that the URL of the organization, the website name of the organization, actually corresponds to the brand name that you are planning to connect to and contact. It's extremely important. If you're in the middle of the scam, you are being scammed, and you do realize that you got scammed. Psychologically, does it make sense to alert the scammers that you realized that you are being scammed? Or it makes sense to silently leave the connection going and go to police? What's the recommendation?
As soon as you know, hey, this is a scammer, I recommend two things. In general, I recommend break off the connection, hang up the phone, stop answering to emails, just break off the connection. It doesn't make sense to tell the scammer that you know he's a scammer because, one, he doesn't care, and two, you only are giving him feedback to make his scam better the next time with the next victim. In general, I advise cut off the connection, warn the police. In some cases, actually, in Japan, is actually a program running at the moment where they are asking consumers to keep the connection going, especially with scams where the person says, hey, your banking card has been compromised. We will now come to your house to take your bank card and block your bank card for you. In that case, the police really likes you to call them, and then they will wait at your home to pick up the scammer. But in general, my advice is contact the police and ask them what you should do. And police, in 99% of the cases, will say, break off any connection, don't start a discussion. it's no use. But it might be some cases where they say, please keep the connection going and we will support you so that we might have a chance to catch him. But this first step is contact the police.
Jorij, thank you. What's your key message? Can you summarize this discussion, or maybe you have additional message to share with PissedConsumer? How would you summarize this conversation?
I think at the moment the situation is difficult. I mean, online scams is booming and it's not going to go away for a very long time. But I am optimistic. I mean, with the software viruses, with malware in the 90s, we also didn't have it under control and they did a lot of harm. But I do think we can in the end win. And I recommend two things to consumers is, one, always be on the alert. As you were saying, Mike, if it's too good to be true, don't proceed because it is too good to be true. And warn the police. Do report, even although the scammer is probably abroad and he will not be caught. We are helping law enforcement to get as much data in as possible to, in the end, get the bad guy. So stay alert and report.
Jorij, thank you very much. At the end, I would like to say, guys, please go check out ScamAdviser.com. Really useful site. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and give it to your friends and families to see who may be scammed. Thank you, guys. Jorij, really appreciate your time, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Mike. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.